Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. On board the silver battleship, he looked down at the vast continent in the distance. As the ship closed the distance via a long-distance teleportation, the faraway continent soon came clearly into view. This vast continent was named Godly King Sector. Technically speaking, there were 5 major continents in the world of Jin. The East Army, the West Army, the North Army, and the South Army each commanded a vast expanse of land and a part of the ocean. On the vast ocean, there were many islands scattered all over, and the biggest among them all was Godly King Sector. Furthermore, it was the place of residence of His Majesty the Godly King, so naturally, it had a unique status, even though its size was far from comparable to the other 4 continents. Because of its unique status, it was regarded as one of the 5 major continents. Godly King Sector. Luo Feng looked down. At first glance, the entire continent was covered with undulating mountains and lakes. The breathtaking view was quite a sight to behold. Huh! Luo Feng felt a sudden jolt of shock. Those countless rolling, undulating mountains looked like numerous law engravings. Even the lakes resembled nodes. Just by looking down at the entire Godly King Sector, Luo Feng could feel countless mysteries surging into his mind. Yet they were so mysterious that they were far beyond what Luo Feng could understand or comprehend at his current level. That's right. Luo Feng nodded. Based on the information I have gathered, Godly King Sector was, after all, the place of residence of Godly King. Normally, living souls of the world of Jin would not be allowed access in here. I have applied for a mission to receive a title. That's why I am allowed access within the period of this era. The place of residence of the Godly King. How could there not be special formation, secret techniques, and the like, enough to hold all underlings in shock and awe? Luo Feng laughed. Just like how many important grounds within the primal secret region would reverse time and space to plant dangers around the land, there would certainly be extraordinary traps if His Majesty the Godly King of the world of Jin was personally responsible for the dangers. Just as Luo Feng was maneuvering the boat of Mausoleum to maintain flying in the sky, a lone figure suddenly appeared out of nowhere on the vast land below. Soon, this figure was flying toward Luo Feng at high speed. An angry command was transmitted. On the grounds of Godly King Sector, trespassing is prohibited. Stop. The voice seemed to come in rolling waves. Suddenly, the surrounding time and space around the boat of Mausoleum seemed to be isolated from the outside world. There was no way the ship could attempt to escape. A true god of void space. Luo Feng was taken aback. Luo Feng exited through the cabin doors of the boat of Mausoleum and directed his introduction to a faraway spot. I am Milky Way, a warrior from Python River Army of the East Army. Because I am assigned with a mission to receive a title, I have come to Godly King Sector. Warrior Milky Way. The true god of void space took one look in the distance and carefully surveyed what he saw, then. Everything in the surrounding time and space resumed normality. Follow me, the true god of the void space beckoned. Luo Feng put away the boat of Mausoleum and flew over without further delay. Before this true god of void space, he entertained no other thoughts. After all, considering the power of a true god of void space, even if he put in his all, he would still be hunted down and killed. Of course, it would be wiser to be obedient. As he flew over, Luo Feng took the chance to observe this true god of void space. He was a tribal warrior, meaning it was a humanoid life form with a dark, golden body that seemed to be cast in bronze. It had 6 ears and a pair of eyes that radiated red light. Even while standing amid the void space, it exuded an arrogant and domineering aura. Milky Way pays respect to you, my lord. Luo Feng bowed reverentially upon flying close. I am one of the guards of Godly King Sector. I am North Kang, the true god of void space said right away. If you want to carry out your mission to receive a title, then do follow me. I will bring you to Godly King Valley. Without my lead, you will not be able to arrive at Godly King Valley. Understood, Luo Feng replied. With North Kang, the guard of Godly King sector, leading the way, both traveled via an extremely long-distance teleportation, as they made their way to Godly King Valley. My lord, North Kang. The more Luo Feng gazed at the sight below, the more mysterious he found it. I feel that Godly King sector continent seems to have lore engravings everywhere. Does that mean there is danger everywhere? North Kang, the guard, took one look at Luo Feng and revealed a rare smile. You are right. The Godly King sector continent is indeed fraught with danger. This continent is, after all, beyond huge. If a large number of law masters and true gods were left free to roam about, even with quite a handful of guards, it will still be impossible to look out for every single one of them. But the moment they are caught trespassing, they will be in danger of imminent annihilation. This is the exact reason why, normally, no one will dare to enter the Godly King sector. Luo Feng nodded. The information he had obtained also included a prohibition against trespassing. Death awaited all intruders. As for the lore engravings found everywhere, North Kang, the guard, sighed, because the whole of Godly King sector is actually a super automaton type true treasure that was created by His Majesty the Godly King. Automaton type true treasure. Luo Feng was dumbfounded. A true treasure or a supreme piece of a valuable, one that could be regarded as an automaton type true treasure by true gods of void space of the world of Jin, would be something that other valuables within Universe Ocean would not be able to hold a candle to. Such a large automaton type true treasure. Luo Feng was dumbfounded. The length of the universe boat was around 100 million light years. This Godly King sector continent was, after all, one of the 5 major continents. Even though it was barely comparable to the other 4 continents, its diameter was certainly more than 1 billion light years. How could such a majestic and resplendent continent turn out to be an automaton-type true treasure? Ha ha! His Majesty the Godly King was most highly skilled in automaton-type treasures. North Kang, the guard, sighed as a great sense of pride swept through him. This Godly King sector continent was merely an experimental product that His Majesty the Godly Kind left behind. His Majesty still has a true Godly King sector, and that true treasure followed him on his various expeditions as he roamed about endless worlds with ease. He was simply unrivaled. Luo Feng held his breath. Previously, he had seen that humanoid life form. Given that the humanoid life form was so massive, for it to be able to come up with such an outrageous, automaton-type true treasure was nothing out of the ordinary. If that massive object really was His Majesty the Godly King, then why has he been reduced to this state? Even his world of Jin became easily accessible by universe masters and true gods from our universe ocean. Yet his people from the world of Jin will die the moment they step out. Luo Feng felt that universe ocean and the world of Jin seemed to be at odds with one another. And Universe Ocean had the upper hand. The living souls of Universe Ocean could enter world of Jin, but living souls from the world of Jin were unable to enter Universe Ocean. Chatting while on the move, they soon arrived at their destination above a beautiful mountain valley. This is Godly King Valley. North Kang, the guard, pointed down where there was a beautiful and incomparably tranquil valley. Back when His Majesty the Godly King was here in Godly King sector, this was where he often stayed in Godly King Valley. I have conveyed the news of your arrival. Let the guard of Godly King Valley know when you get there. They will not stop you. Thank you, North Kang, my lord, Luo Feng said. Also, that 9-story tower. North Kang, the guard, pointed at the highest building within Godly King Valley. That is Wui Tower. Move along. I hope you are able to complete the mission to receive a title and make it out alive. Then, while shaking his head, North Kang teleported and disappeared. Luo Feng looked at the 9-story tower and thought, make it out alive. Not only must I make it out alive, but I must also find out why, since time immemorial, no law master has been able to make it to the top. I must find out what might stop me. Luo Feng, ever so proud and confident, would not lose confidence just because of the dangers of a mission to receive a title. If he lacked the confidence, he would not have come. Luo Feng flew over without further ado. Security was very tight in the Godly King Valley. However, The guards knew that Luo Feng was entering as someone who was here to carry out a mission to receive a title, so they did not stop him. All they did was convey one message to him via voice transmission: in Godly King Valley, flying is prohibited. Therefore, Luo Feng moved about on foot while in Godly King Valley. He walked over to Wui Tower without delay. Wui Tower, taller than 1,000 light-years, was the tallest building in Godly King Valley. At the bottom of this towering building, there were 6 figures. One of the 6 figures entrenched over there, a single-horned beast, ordered in a low voice, "Warrior, come here." This single-horned beast was the only true god in the area. The other 5 figures were law masters. As Luo Feng made his way over, his eyes swept across his surroundings. "You are the 6th law master of this batch," the single-horned beast growled. According to the rules, every 10 warriors must enter Wui Tower together. Now, in the Wui Tower, there is a total of 3 batches. You are the 4th, but first, you have to wait. You will enter when we have 10 warriors here. Luo Feng nodded to indicate that he understood. On this grassland, the other 5 warriors were at ease. They were either standing, sitting, or even lying sprawled on the ground. That would be the Beast Warrior. Python River Army. You are from the East Army. A warrior walked over. He was a tall, skinny, strange-looking warrior with a black beard. He was clad in battle armor that had bizarre beast patterns, and his helmet also had the pattern of a roaring beast head. "You are from Sleeping Dragon Army?" Luo Feng asked with a smile. Sleeping Dragon Army was also a special army troop of the East Army. "I am Shuzhong from Sleeping Dragon Army," said the tall, skinny warrior, introducing himself. "I am Milky Way from Python River Army," said Luo Feng, likewise introducing himself. That tall, skinny warrior expressed his friendly intentions, but he lamented. "The other 4 warriors are all from other armies, not from our East Army. Fancy meeting someone from the East Army here. How delightful. Which major troop from the Python River Army are you from? This is my first time seeing you." "I am a new recruit," Luo Feng said casually. The moment this was said, the tall, skinny warrior let out a trace of shock. Even the other 4 warriors, who were not too far away, expressed some interest. A new recruit. A realization struck Xu Zhong. "No wonder I have never seen you before. You must have just joined within the past few eras. The number of special army troops in our East Army are not many to start with, and I know the majority of the outstanding ones. For you to be able to make it here to execute this mission for receiving a title, you must be someone with extremely strong powers. I believe that soon enough, you will make a name for yourself throughout the various special army troops of the East Army." Luo Feng laughed. Entering Wui Tower was extremely dangerous, and since they were all from the East Army, he knew he should get well acquainted with this warrior. Perhaps this might be helpful to him when he was in Wui Tower. In the blink of an eye, almost 6 days had passed. Warriors had been arriving in succession. "We have 10 warriors," growled the single-horned beast true god. "You all will be the 4th batch of warriors to enter Wui Tower this time. A prior warning to you all, presently, within Wui Tower, more than half of the warriors from the 3rd batch are dead. I hope I will be able to see you all again, walking out of here alive." The 10 warriors were shocked. More than half from the previous batch were dead. Even Luo Feng was astounded. Those who dared to come here would certainly be the absolute elites from the 4 armies. From afar, the towering doors were as tall as a few hundred light years. They were slowly starting to open up with a rumble. The towering doors radiated dazzling, colorful lights, which made it difficult for Luo Feng and company to look straight at it. An endless oppressive force was spreading out from within Wui Tower. "Go in," the single-horned beast true god said. Luo Feng and the other warriors, a total of 10 of them from the 4 armies of World of Jin, looked at one another in the eyes. Then, almost simultaneously, they transformed into streaks of flowing light and headed for the towering doors. Out they flew. Not a single warrior dared to teleport recklessly. After all, the mission to receive a title was at an extremely terrifying level that all of them completely understood. In Wui Tower, the world on the first level was a vast desert where bouts of cold wind blew. It was frigid, and frost could be faintly seen forming on the grains of sands. Far away was a lofty space portal. 10 figures flew in through the space portal and were surveying their surroundings. Thereafter, they gradually descended to stand on the surface of the desert. The first level of Wui Tower. Luo Feng looked around at his surroundings only to see a vast desert. The end was nowhere in sight. Even the faraway space portal had vanished without a trace. The tall, skinny warrior, Xu Zhong, who was beside Luo Feng, sent a voice transmission. This Wui Tower is incomparably dangerous. Milky Way, what do you think? Where could the danger be lurking? Could it be under this endless desert? Luo Feng shook his head. I have no idea. 10 warriors, a total of 6 tribal warriors and 4 beast warriors, all were exercising extreme caution and maintaining great vigilance. Out of the 10 warriors, only 2 came from the East Army, Luo Feng and Xu Zhong. The 2 naturally drew closer to one another, whether consciously or subconsciously, so that, in case either met with danger, they could rely on each other to deal with the situation. The quiet peacefulness of the desert was suddenly disrupted by a loud rumble. The impact of the energy waves spread out in all directions. In an instant, it had swept through the entire endless region. Luo Feng and everyone else could feel the vibrating waves and turned to look. Far away in the sky above the desert, a dazzling beam of light extended downward in a contorted manner, moving fast as lightning. In a matter of seconds, a huge cyan light beam was formed, connecting the desert and the boundless sky above. What is that? It seems to contain an extremely strong power. The warriors were all filled with doubts. At that moment, on the upper surface of the cyan light beam that connected the desert to the sky above, many huge black characters suddenly appeared in a distorted manner. In bold black, every character exuded a formidable, murderous intent that wasted no time in penetrating and invading the minds of Luo Feng and every warrior present. It was so powerful that even Luo Feng's willpower was stirred. Both his eyes reddened slightly, and in his heart, his roaring emotions could not seem to be tamed. The black characters continued to appear one after another. This is the passageway that connects the first and second levels of Wui Tower. Those who enter this passageway will be able to enter the second level of Wui Tower. You must first kill one warrior before you can enter this passageway. If you do not kill another warrior, you will never be able to leave this place for eternity. Before those lofty doors open again for the next batch of warriors to enter, warriors who had yet to enter the second level will be annihilated. Those who hide in battleship treasures to avoid the war shall be considered failed attempts. For them, the final verdict will also be annihilation. The black characters were suspended in mid-air, radiating endless, oppressive force. The murderous intent contained in these characters alone was enough to push every warrior to the limit of his tolerance. Such oppressive force. If it had intended to annihilate some of these warriors, who were merely lawmasters, one sweep through the crowd would probably have been enough to bring them to annihilation. No one would be able to pull any tricks in Wui Tower. All 10 warriors, including Luo Feng, harbored no doubts about its authenticity. This was why one must kill a warrior to be able to enter the passageway, to enter the second level of Wui Tower. Luo Feng was shocked. Meaning to say that out of 10 warriors, at least 5 shall die. Suddenly, Luo Feng understood why the single-horned beast, True God outside, had said that half of all warriors from the first 3 batches had died. Kill one. But who to choose? Luo Feng's eyes swept the surroundings. As all 10 warriors had entered together, they were all standing quite near to one another. Everyone was looking around with due vigilance. They were all considering who they should choose as their opponent, since every warrior who had dared to turn up for this mission would be quite extraordinary. If they happened to choose an opponent much stronger than themselves, they would end up being eliminated instead. Soundlessly, the surrounding space was frozen. It seemed to have been done by multiple warriors all at once. Following a wild and raging rumbling sound, one of the warriors made a move, causing the situation, which had previously been kept under control, to erupt instantly. One by one, the warriors burst into sudden action, charging toward their individual targets. Roar! An ugly beast with huge scaly wings let out a howl as he charged toward Luo Feng. "Meet your doom," said a burly warrior holding a large, fearsome hammer. The hammer was surrounded by endless lightning, and the strength of its power immediately led Luo Feng to the conclusion that this hammer was definitely an automaton-type treasure. A beam of black shot swept directly at Luo Feng's head. 3 warriors were attacking Luo Feng at the same time. Unexpectedly, 3 warriors had chosen him. Luo Feng could not help but laugh. It seemed that admitting to the fact that he was a new recruit, when they had all been outside Wui Tower, had indeed brought him some trouble. He had heard it said, boldness of execution stems from superb skills, and this was clearly what the saying meant. He had known that he had skills that would certainly allow him to dominate over these so-called elite warriors. That was why Luo Feng had purposefully dared make such a bold statement. Luo Feng made a speedy retreat. Countless snowflakes suddenly appeared in the surroundings, manifesting in a voluminous amount. This was one of the domain-type true god-level treasures he had traded for previously, and now, he was using it to suppress and restrain these 3 warriors who were attacking him. The moment the 3 warriors who had deigned to sneak attack Luo Feng were enshrouded within the domain, he could instantly make out who they were, especially that ghostly one. The first was a beast, the second was a burly warrior, and the third was, unexpectedly, someone who was also from the East Army like himself. It was none other than Xu Zhong. Xu Zhong. Luo Feng sent a furious roar via voice transmission. "You and I are fellow warriors from the East Army. This is just the first level of Wui Tower, and here you are, making a move on me. You are a new recruit." Xu Zhong shouted coldly. "If I don't kill you, who else should I kill?" Layers of purple light surrounded Xu Zhong, resisting the countless snowflakes that Luo Feng had forcibly imposed over him. Obviously, this Xu Zhong also had a domain-type treasure in his possession. Luo Feng laughed. He despised warriors like Xu Zhong the most. With a loud roar and a single movement, he transformed into a blurry blade figure. He easily avoided the burly warrior and made a dive for Xu Zhong. A dodge, followed by a dive. How simple. Yet it was enough to evoke noticeable changes in the expressions of the 3 warriors besieging Luo Feng. This set of moves not only allowed Luo Feng to easily avoid the burly warrior, but it could even throw the beast far into the distance. A weak fighter may not have been able to notice this, but these were all elite warriors. Just one glance and they could tell that this Milky Way had terrifying moves. Not good. Xu Zhong let out a low growl. Layers of white light immediately emerged from his entire being, and very quickly, he became a white flying beast. The white flying beast shook its pair of wings, and soared up high in a straight line to make its escape into the distance. This caused a slight change in Luo Feng's expression. An automaton-type treasure, Bib Bird. Bib Bird was an automaton-type treasure owned by the East Army. It was extremely skillful in escaping, though it may not have been very adept in other areas, like dodging. It was exceptionally fast when accelerating in a straight line to escape. To trade for it, one would have had to pay 600,000 military credits. It was much more expensive than Golden Claw God, which Luo Feng was using. In the category of escape, it was incomparably impressive. All Xu Zhong needed was one glimpse at Luo Feng's simple body movement, and he knew he had been driven up against a wall. With his close combat technique, Luo Feng had dealt him 10 blows, while he had, at most, attacked Luo Feng once. If the situation persisted, Luo Feng would soon be shoving him aside and blocking him out. Seeing that circumstances were to his disadvantage, Xu Zhong had taken out Bib Bird right away to immediately make his escape. "You're lucky you are fast enough." Luo Feng snorted with indifference, and was no longer concerned with Xu Zhong. He was clearly aware that, with an automaton-type treasure like Bib Bird, Xu Zhong would be far too difficult to kill. Far off in the distance, Bib Bird spread its wings wide and looked in Luo Feng's direction. A new recruit. He is far more powerful than a veteran. Xu Zhong wore an awful, pained expression. Is he lying? That can't be. I know every warrior from Python River Army, who has impressive skills other than the new recruits. I don't know him, so it's likely he is not lying. He must be a new recruit. But for a mere new recruit to be so impressive, I'm in trouble. Even if I manage to pull through this first ordeal at the first level, I still have the second level, then the third level. Xu Zhong was now filled with regrets. What awful foresight he'd had. The single choice he had made would be his greatest misfortune. He had targeted the most powerful warrior of their batch. Xu Zhong was quick to his escape, while the other two warriors, who also saw the disadvantageous situation they were in, likewise started to make the escape without delay. The burly warrior with the gigantic lightning hammer gave his body a shake. Unexpectedly, a pair of black wings appeared. Then he speedily flew away with a whistling sound. The beast warrior, on the other hand, was making a slow escape, or at least slow relative to the speed of Xu Zhong and the burly warrior. Whose fault is it that you are too slow? Luo Feng let out a low growl and charged over with ferocity. As Luo Feng was giving chase, slicing through space, his entire being started to transform. In the blink of an eye, he had transformed into an incomparably large and savage humanoid beast. His hands and legs morphed into huge, golden claws. Automaton-type treasure, golden claw god. Set ablaze. His godly power was instantly blazing up to the first stage. Right away, the blazing godly power penetrated golden claw god and traveled all the way to its core, where it underwent a change. The powerful golden claws radiated an endlessly wild and ferocious aura. No. The hideous beast with its scaly, armored wings looked behind it and was instantly dumbstruck. Golden Claw God was closing the distance from behind, and was moving far too fast. How could his speed be so fast? The beast with the scaly, armored wings felt very troubled. In the first place, why had he not used his military credits to trade for something that could help him escape? He had dared come here because he had an automaton-type treasure, but it was one that was used for attack purposes. In terms of attack, he was not the least bit afraid of the other warriors, but seeing how Luo Feng was able to dodge attacks, he knew that he would be bound for failure if he continued battling Luo Feng. He needed to escape. However, he was unable to escape. With unmatched ferocity, Luo Feng flew toward the beast at such a speed that he produced a whistling sound. High up above, he flew. With legs like two large blades, Luo Feng sliced through the air with a loud whistle. With both legs, he executed his blade technique, light of water and fire. Although he was only able to execute the first stage of extermination, his level of secret technique was obviously higher than his opponent. While his blazing godly power was merely comparable to the other party, his dodging ability was much more impressive. The exchange of blows with Luo Feng had made the scaly, armored beast realize that it had fallen into dire straits. No, bellowed the beast. There was no escape for it at all. It had attacked Luo Feng, who had avoided the attack easily. He had tried to block off Luo Feng, which had caused his power to be greatly reduced. But when Luo Feng attacked him, the beast now realized he might not be able to block off all his attacks. The ferocious, sharp golden claws were like blades. Without hesitation, they slashed at the head of the scaly, armored beast, savagely sending the beast crashing toward the boundless desert. Luo Feng's legs were like blades, and with increasing brute strength and cruelty, he pared the scales off the scaly, armored beast one by one. Luo Feng was wearing Golden Claw God, and his power surged. He was suppressing the scaled strange beast. The technique of the scaled strange beast was at level 6. It was already impressive for a lore master to create a technique at level 6. Plus, he knew the first level of godly power burning techniques. He could wield the power at level 7. Besides, his machine-type valuable was a claw, and it was exceptional at attacks. It could improve the power of attacks by 3 levels, which meant it could wield the power at level 10. However, it didn't offer any improvement in defense and evading. That meant the strange beast couldn't hit Luo Feng, while Luo Feng could easily hit it. Even if it hit Luo Feng had his own defenses and Golden Claw God to protect him. As a result, he wasn't injured at all. However, if the strange beast was hit, it would lose a great amount of his godly body. It wasn't a balanced battle. The soldiers were all shocked as they watched. They were the most powerful lawmasters, who could wield limit-level power. To achieve a breakthrough and become stronger would have been very difficult, which was why there wouldn't be a large power gap among those lawmasters. However, that soldier, Milky Way. This is incredible. The body technique of that soldier, Milky Way, is incredible. His machine-type valuables are not very efficient. However, they are all of great help. Once someone is hit, he'll be crushed. His claw technique is also impressive. Golden Claw God isn't great at attacks, but Milky Way enhances the power with his claw technique. The soldiers all noticed this as they watched them do battle. They understood that they would need to kill each other, since they were required to do so on the first level of Wui Tower, and their ultimate goal was to reach the top. Also, it was likely that they fought each other for some additional benefits. They needed to assess the power of the other soldiers now. All the other soldiers immediately decided, we must not mess with that soldier Milky Way. We need to stay as far away from him as possible. I wouldn't have messed with him if I had known he was that powerful, said Shuzhong, feeling regretful. If I had made friends with him, I could have gained his help during the adventures on the following levels of Wui Tower. Then things would have been much easier. Luo Feng's right golden claw bent a little. The claws were like blades. The claw slashed the back of the scaled strange beast, and the beast rolled over. The godly body of the scaled strange beast kept being weakened by the constant attacks. Those gleaming, golden claws were like tumbling waves, slashing the scaled strange beast continuously. The beast lost a large part of its godly body, and its power was already reduced by 80%. Naturally, it was being crushed. Milky Way, please spare my life. The scaled strange beast grew exceedingly anxious, and began to beg for its life. Luo Feng didn't give a damn. I am willing to give you all my valuables, said the scaled strange beast. It was terrified as it didn't want to die. I can still get your valuables if I kill you, Luo Feng said, transmitting his voice. Besides, you chose to enter Wui Tower yourself, so you should have prepared for death. You're much weaker now. Even if I spared your life now, what about the following levels? Do you really think you could survive what still awaits you? Besides, if I don't kill a soldier, I won't be able to enter the second level. Then I'll be annihilated by Wui Tower. I don't want to die. Plus, even if you survived against me, you wouldn't be able to kill any other soldiers. You'll die anyway. The scaled strange beast understood. However, it was facing death, and it didn't want to die like that. It wanted to live as long as it could. As for the dangers in the future, it didn't care about that. I need to kill you to get to level 2, Luo Feng said, his voice cold and steady. This scaled strange beast had attacked him first. If he hadn't been powerful enough, he would have been killed. No, said the beast in despair. It couldn't do anything but watch itself become weaker and weaker. Even if it exploded, the power couldn't reach level 10. Under attacks like tumbling waves, the scaled strange beast was annihilated. It left lots of valuables behind, said Luo Feng. He waved his hands and took up all the objects left on the plains. There was a black claw within the objects left behind. It was the machine-type valuable left by the scaled strange beast. World of Jin, said Luo Feng. It has the complete ancient civilization, and it's especially proficient at machine-type valuables, he exclaimed. If a universe master can reach level 10 with godly power burning techniques and machine-type valuables, it will be as powerful as Teacher Origin in Universe Ocean. It was to be expected. Machine-type valuables could greatly improve a law master's power and could enable him to fight true gods. Luo Feng took lots of valuables, and he understood that he had been able to kill that scaled strange beast only because he was able to move swiftly and dodge the attacks. He was at a great advantage when it came to dodging, even facing a true god, which had been proven in 9 Smoke Marsh. It's better to kill an elite soldier than to kill 10 true gods. Luo Feng looked around. On the plains, the wind was still blowing, and there was fighting in several directions. Those soldiers sometimes gave Luo Feng a look. They are all far from me. Luo Feng couldn't help shaking his head. He was planning on killing 1 or 2 more soldiers to get more valuables. After all, he had lots of people to take care of, the humans, the earthlings, and even the Luos. They all needed valuables. However, the soldiers all treated him as a huge threat at the moment, so they might have run away if he attempted to make a move. I'll wait until the next level, Luo Feng thought. Generally, only 10% can survive Wui Tower, yet 50% were already killed on the first level. The winners can get valuables, so I'll kill those winners and get more trophies. Luo Feng looked around, stopped hesitating, and flew toward the cyan pillar like a streak of light. Luo Feng flew toward that cyan light pillar, and it didn't stop him. He was like a beam of golden light under the path of the cyan light pillar. He surged and disappeared. The soldiers were relieved. Finally, he entered the second level. Phew. Finally. It's a good thing. If Luo Feng was watching them fight, they would feel anxious. They could clearly tell that they were not at his level. We're all the best elites in the special armies, so there shouldn't be any beings significantly stronger than us. Why is Milky Way is so much stronger? Especially his close combat techniques. How come? Even true gods don't have body techniques like that. After Luo Feng left, they all returned to fighting each other in groups. Luo Feng had killed the strange beast very quickly. But contrary to Luo Feng, the rest of them took a long time to finish the battle. Luo Feng felt that time and space were twisted. The dimming light was blurry, and he showed up in a new place from the cyan light pillar. Luo Feng looked around. It was a dark red land. There were fissures across the ground, and red fluids flowed beneath, venting steam that burst from the cracks. The sky was covered by dark clouds. 5 soldiers. Luo Feng looked into the distance. There were 5 soldiers, and all 5 stayed far from each other. Apparently, they were on high alert. The former group. Luo Feng moved his mind. New soldiers have arrived, said a handsome teenager in dark red armor. He smiled. The color of his armor perfectly matched the shade of the ground. Why are you waiting for the next round? Asked Luo Feng. The teenager in dark red armor smiled all the more, yet his eyes glinted ferociously. When we arrived, Wui Tower told us that each round requires 10 soldiers, and only 5 of the soldiers from our group survived. So we're waiting for you. Luo Feng nodded. 3 groups of soldiers had already entered before him. There were 13 soldiers in 3 groups, so there should have been 15 who survived, unless there were unexpected circumstances. How will the second level of Wui Tower test us? Asked Luo Feng. The soldiers answered. Don't know, said one. We don't know either, answered another. You're the first to arrive. It seems you're the strongest in your group. Just luck, said Luo Feng. What about the other soldiers? Asked the teenager in the red armor. They'll be here in a minute, Luo Feng said with a smile. Only after half an hour later, the soldiers arrived, and they arrived at almost the same time. As soon as Shuzhong arrived, his big bird turned, opened its wings, and flew away. He looked around and saw Luo Feng in the distance. All 4 soldiers tried to stay as far away from Luo Feng as possible, and the other 5 soldiers noted their reaction. It was evident that these 4 soldiers were very wary of the one who had arrived before them. He intimidates so many elite soldiers. We need to be wary of him. The soldiers from the last group were all shocked. At that moment, 10 light pillars fell from the sky, covering all the soldiers. This video will end here.